my name's Ian. One of the Hustle Brothers here. Do you know what? We're here for EVTOL Weekly. I'm here with my good friend Dylan. And then, do you know what? No introduction needed. Mr. Juicy Fruit himself. We have Mark Berry, top right. Guys, how are we getting on today?
So far, so good. Honestly, Liam, I'm really excited to talk eVTOLs today. So I'll leave it on that and pass it to Mark. How you doing, Mark?
I'm good. I'll just leave it at that.
Nice. How you doing, Liam?
We may have to explain.
Juicy Fruit.
We may have to explain it for people that weren't on the last feed.
Yeah, so, guys. So
the reason there's an E hang in my background.
Nice.
Guys, as we like to say, Mark is a little bit of a joker, and he can say these things, in streams where he can just keep a straight face and he can just walk straight through, say absolute gold, and then keep walking with it. But now we had to pull him up the last day. He referred to E-Hang as the juicy fruit of the eVTOL market, or the squirt, the bottle of squirt. So
he came through. He delivered.
Compliments of our listener Mary.
Hey.
Shout out to Mary.
Mary, big shout out, making the show better and better every week. But you know what? I want to get into eVTOLs, guys. Do you know what? We've been giving ACHR a pretty bad rep over the past, here now, it must be 3 or 4 months now. So, do you know what? I think we need to sit back, have a look at ACHR, see, is it all bad? Or, look, are we just tainting them with a brush? Dylan, we know you're a massive investor in ACHR Aviation, and I think you're like the fan favorite when it comes to ACHR Aviation because I know the Joby guys think I am an ACHR bear, and then the ACHR guys think I'm a Joby bear. Mark is just...
I'm an industry bull.
He's an industry bull. He doesn't... He doesn't have favorite. Well, look, Horizon. Do you know what? Yeah, Brandon was in the comments again today. He actually started commenting on my latest video about Horizon aircraft. So, big shout out to Brandon. He does be watching the channel. But no, look, we've been hitting over Joby an awful lot. We've been hitting over Horizon an awful lot. So I think we need to go back to ACHR Aviation, see what the story is. Is there anything to be worried about? Is there anything to be bullish about? And we'll just give our honest opinion about the whole thing. What do you think of that, guys?
Love it. Great. Love it.
So, looking at ACHR over today, let me share my screen quickly. Looking at ACHR over today, look, we are down 2.44%. That is not something I have to worry about. The whole speculative sector pulled back today. We had the whole eVTOL industry. We had space industry. I know. I genuinely think it was the majority of any of your speculative stocks that are pulling back. We are back 2.44% over 5 days. That is 9.49%. Over the month, that is 12.97. 6 months, we are up 6.47. And then over the last year, it's 148.22%. So anyone, before you start saying ACHR is collapsing, just take it back over the last year and look, you are up more or less 150%. Look, we're going to bring it back to Joby and see, is it following the same sort of trend? And that way we can sort of see the relationship. So today, again, down 2.54%. Over the past 5 days, Joby is down even worse, 11.47%. Over the last month, down 24.01%. So Joby is collapsing more than ACHR. Before people start jumping on the bandwagon saying ACHR's absolutely gone walking the plank since that short report. Over the 6 months, Joby is up 101%. But you need to think, Joby was a little bit later coming to that run party. Now we did push up towards the $20, but over the year, Joby has got 165%. Look, 148%, 165%. I would take half of that in any of my stocks. So guys, don't be panicking. We're going to go back to ACHR. Guys, what I might do, Dylan, do
Yes,
you
sir.
want to sort of give your bull case on ACHR Aviation at the moment and tell us why people should not be worried
Sure.
during some pullback?
And honestly, right now, if you're a little worried in Archer, I think that's an okay feeling as well. I think when you're not getting the answers or you're feeling like you're kind of having to read through the lines in some earning calls or some press releases, it can give an investor a little bit of worry. So for me, the biggest thing I had been thinking about was instead of buying the shares in the 950 range, obviously, if I had the crystal ball, would have waited another 2 weeks or a month or so and grabbed some in the 950s. But really, the fact that Archer has not collapsed down into the fives really continue to hold my confidence within the strategic moves inside of the company. And I'll take that back to, I'd say about Q4 of 2024. So we were listening to that earnings call, and I know that we can deem Adams as a salesman a lot. And he is the CEO of a company of an emerging industry. And if I was the CEO of an emerging industry that not many people, especially if you're not a retail investor or involved in the stock market, may have never heard of, I would think that I'd probably want to create some buzz around this new product that I'd be launching into the market and have people ready to fly and be a part of our air taxi network. For that, I do see some reasons that Adam would want to be bullish about his company as well as continue to push the air taxi side of his commercial business. But I did notice about 9 months ago during the Q4 call was about the time when we did hear the announcement of Archer Defense. And if I remember correctly, on the Q4 call that year, when we got to the Q&As, I remember the Q3 call, Adam was really like upbeat, seemed like he was answering the questions well. And then we made it to the Q4 call. And after the prepared remarks at the beginning, he just seemed flat. I almost say, I don't really know if this word makes sense to a lot of people, but he just seemed kind of bummy. Like he just kind of out of it. Something was bothering him. And at that point in time, I couldn't put my finger on it. I'm like, dude, you're on an earnings call. Like you're running a billion dollar company. Like, let's get it together. Let's get on the Q&A. Let's have some energy here and answer these questions. But what I think happened, in my humble opinion, that is trying to learn my best about Archer Aviation, is that he knew that there was a redesign or a shift in the company that was going to have to take place to keep him in line as being second to market. For him and the company and Team Archer, obviously we hope first to market, but being a little bit more realistic, still being second to market. And there were two things that we learned on that Q4 call. We learned that Archer Defense was going to be a subsidiary and was being created as a separate branch, but still under Archer Aviation Inc. And we also learned of the potential of the Launch Edition program rolling out as well. So if we look forward to some of the guidance that was said on that call, we've had 3 Launch Edition partners join within the 6 to 9 months since that announcement of that program was made. So again, we can kind of look at the opportunities still that we have over in UAE. What is something I think that maybe some Archer investors may be looking forward to. I believe it's in November. There's an air show or there's a showcase in UAE. And it really seems as if for the timeline, Archer seems to be looking to kind of gear up to be able to truly display and if not deliver, because Adam did speak on the last call that he was going to be on a path to revenue that would be coming through the door with the sale of an aircraft prior to this year ending. So to me, would be taking that as a sale. So as opposed to a delivery of an aircraft. And again, I know that word, thinking back on it, I think even for me, at times when I was hearing the word delivery by Adam, just to be fair, it did come off and sound as if he was placing a midnight at a location, walking away, so for, I don't want to get it wrong, but in the AFWorks program, that a delivery was made to the DoD or military. technically a delivery was made. Was it taken back? Yes, it was. So, maybe that was a little too salesy. But yeah, kind of reading through those words. So again, in my humble opinion, what I think's happening right now is a redesign for N704AX. What we can track right now on the flight tracker is the tail number N703AX, which I actually spotted today. I was super excited for anybody that checks the flight aware. I always usually see when a flight has landed. So it's usually like 1 hour ago or something like that. And I popped in and 703AX was en route. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm actually seeing this thing kind of on flight tracker as it's doing its midair route. And then within a couple minutes after that, 703AX had landed. So to me, really ever since the last quarter's earnings call, and I could go to my spreadsheet, but they're on, I would say, about an average of a 3-a-week cadence on their piloted test flights with 703AX. We know that they've been using minimally 2 different pilots within the aircraft to get feedback from 2 different, from what they've spoke on, very experienced pilots in the industry as well. And let's see. Also, I think something again that I want to keep looking more into, but does keep me bullish on the company, is the acquisitions that they have made and are continuing to make. I want to learn more about the material composite, the MCC acquisition. So I need to dig deeper a little bit into that one. But something that stood out to me when I was looking at Over Air. I actually did go back to some of the promotional videos that Over Air was running themselves about a year ago, and just how highly touted, it's probably not a word, but just how high they were speaking of their aircraft in design. And if I have it correctly, Over Air has blades of about 20 foot in length. So that would be, much larger blade and a prop than what would be currently on the Midnight. So to me, I still and again, just for the crowd and for the chat, if you have anything on it or if any questions, there's been a little talk about Archer dropping Anduril from its website when it has Archer Defense and tying Anduril to it, as if maybe a partnership has been broken inside of Anduril. I kind of think of it in a way. Adam spoke on the last earnings call that I can get the quote, but they were deep into works with Anduril. So even on the last earnings call, there was a lot of high talk about the relationship with him with Anduril as well. And so I'm almost curious if by unbranding them directly with Archer Defense, kind of cross Anduril, if that opens them up to maybe a larger DoD opportunity. And the last thing I'll say, and I'll pass it off, as I may have some more thoughts later, but that I was watching something and it had it was like the best, it wasn't the best invention out of Georgia, but it was an aircraft, and I believe it was tied into Lockheed Martin as well. And it only made me just start thinking, if we just go by verbiage, Archer's the exclusive air taxi provider for the LA Olympics. I don't think that there's ever been an exclusive put on either by Archer to Anduril or Anduril to Archer. So maybe it's a way also, as they're trademarking these brands, to broaden their opportunity of maybe a military scope of sales or a DoD scope of sales. So they may not be tied so heavily into Anduril specifically as that buyer of those aircraft. But still a little bit more to learn on that. But yeah, I would say that it seems like that that the redesign was mentioned. The 4-blade rear propellers were mentioned on the last call, and I think for us following the eVTOL space and Archer for a while, noticing that they had the 2 blades on the back, that would be an obvious change from about 6 to 9 months ago on what we were seeing on some of the picks on what they had of Midnight Up and such like that. So for me, I'm taking Archer right now in a consolidation phase, and I'm really just looking forward to set up myself for piloted flights in UAE, and then to see really which happens first, whether we get news on piloted flights or deliveries to UAE, or if come the end of September or beginning of October, if any programs of record start to be released or announced for any of the eVTOL companies. Oh, and then also just, I'll leave you on this, on Section 6, I believe, from the executive order that went out on the drones and eVTOLs, the DOT, I believe it is, has until September 4th to pick 5 eVTOL companies, which will then be announced in December. So, I don't have any insider information on that, but if I'm kind of thinking, you have Archer, you have Joby, you have Beta, and then, finding 2 others of the U.S., maybe if they have to be U.S. subsidiaries, I'm not exactly sure on that for this specific executive order. But we do know that, at least from this, that they are to be choosing 5 eVTOL companies, and then they'll be releasing those in December to us. So,
what are they choosing them for? Did it say?
It's for the establishment of an electrical vertical takeoff and landing pilot program, and they're acting through the administrator of the FAA in coordination with the director of the OSTP. Shall establish the eVTOL integration pilot program, and that's the EIPP, as an extension of the Beyond program.
Okay, yeah. So that's going to be, just further integrating eVTOLs into the space. Okay.
Yeah. And so on that, so those are just some kind of bullish and consolidation thoughts. Oh, and actually also the only other thing, because we had mentioned, or this word that came up before, DARPA had came up before. And so OVR is, I can look this up real quick, but if my memory serves me right, OVR, Mark, are you familiar with Karim aircrafts? Karim aircrafts? That's okay. So anyway, I'll look it up, but I'll leave you on the cliffhanger where Karim was really tied in with DARPA. So I will get back with you on that. But it was interesting, as the OVR acquisition actually made it seem like there was some relationship in with DARPA as well with that acquisition.
Dylan, I want to thank you so much for that. What I'm going to do, I'm actually going to clip that as a video because that was amazing, my guy. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Guys, look, I'm going to go straight for the jugular. People are so pushed back on this whole redesign of Archer that has to take place, and they're so, I don't know, scared that the company is going to zero because the short report said there's a redesign that needs to take place, and look, it's going to set them back X amount of time. Guys, this company's worth 1.7 billion, or not worth. This company has 1.7 billion of cash available to it. A redesign, what will it do? Set them back 6 months or so? Myself, Dylan, and Juicy were talking prior to the stream, and if you think about it, guys, we're investing in a next generation venture. This is not something we can compare to today's market. And I think too much of us try and draw parallels. Look, we are hardwired for pattern recognition. We try and draw parallels to everyday businesses we see today. Look, we can try and compare it to Uber, but it's not really Uber because Uber doesn't manufacture. We can try and compare it to Boeing and Airbus. I did get killed the last day about Boeing and Airbus. Apparently, they did used to operate, but they can't now due to the law. Okay. Now, this is why I always have to have Mark beside me, because if not, I'll just say the wrong thing, my guy. But look, we're trying to draw parallels between today's businesses. And I think you have the Joby side saying, look, vertical integration is the way to go. It may be slower at the start, and then we'll start ramping up, and it's a better way forward. And then you have Archer, let's go tried and tested, get it out there. And I think any company that's outspoken, and this is not hating on Archer, but if one of us are outspoken on this podcast, you better back it up, because the comments are going to rip you to shreds if you're outspoken. And the same with Adam. Adam's a lot more outspoken than Joe Ben. So he's putting his neck on the line straight away. I think because he displays himself with such confidence, and you would, with a business like that, I'd be strutting my stuff too. I just think it's not Joe Ben's personality to be doing that. That's nothing against Adam. But we're trying to then say, right, because Archer need a redesign, what, the whole business is flawed? No, the whole business is not flawed. A 6-month setback in a new aviation startup is not something that like is completely out there. They have the cash runway available. There's no real signs that it's going to affect them in the long term that badly. I believe they'll sort it out. And as Dylan said, if you buy in, don't buy into strength. Buy when everyone else is fearful. Now's the time when, look, I'd say the least amount of confidence is going around Archer Aviation at the moment. It feels like everyone is jumping on Joby, whether they are bullish Joby, whether they're just sitting on the sidelines, they seem to be firing into Joby. I did say the last day, I am slightly heavier weighted in Joby at the moment. That is only primarily to the fact that I believe they'll be to certification first. That doesn't mean they're going to be the better business. I did say in that recent video that I am then going reallocating my portfolio. So there's nothing stopping me after that for reallocating to heavier weighted back into Archer. So guys, don't get it twisted. We are not bearish on Archer. We actually genuinely think that both of these companies are going to succeed. Like, I would pretty much put my house on it. Both these companies are going to succeed if this industry succeeds. That's the big caveat there. If this industry succeeds, these two companies will be there. If these two companies go under, I just think it's due to the industry just going under. But we'll go back to Mr. Juicy here now, and we'll see what he has to say.
All right. So my take on it, yeah, I'll agree with you guys. If there is a redesign, that is part of aircraft development. I have worked on multiple initial aircraft designs. I've been to many first flights, or I've partaken in many first flights. I've been in flight test programs where you go through flight test and you're not gonna there needs to be a change in the design, and particularly and it can be something pretty drastic, like you have a flutter issue, like you have to redesign the wing, you have to add more stiffness to the wing, something to that effect, and you just react to it. What will sink you is if you don't have the cash to react to it. But once again, Archer has plenty of cash. And to what Dylan was saying, I think that if there is a redesign, and what that actually entails, they're probably a lot further along, because they're not going to come out. They're probably not going to come out and give you a bunch of details until they have the facts together. So, but to that point too, like I'm right now looking at Glassdoor. Glassdoor is a website where employees rate their company. Okay. And, I look at Archer right now. Adam has where was it? It was just up here. Adam has an 88% approval rate as the CEO. Oh, wow. So, and it's a 50% approval rate to positive comments are 50% positive to 22% negative. And
you're always going to get some prick that fucking hates you.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's interesting facts.
Yeah, it's the guy that got the last piece, didn't get the last piece of cake. and then right now I'm looking on Archer's website. If you just go to their careers website or their careers section, they have got, the page just keeps going of software engineers, senior mechanical engineer. They have so many job requisitions open. If this is a company that is not poised for success, they wouldn't have the capital. They wouldn't be posting all of these jobs. And it looks like, you read on Glassdoor, the people that are there are happy. Like one of the comments, the con that I read here, let me see if I can find it.
Yeah.
I can share it with you guys. Great team, great culture, a lot of potential. The con, a lot to do, need more people fast. So, and that was posted on August 11th. That was 4 weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
So obviously, that was right around their earnings call.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is happening at that company right now is just a flurry of activity. And of course, we're here as retail investors speculating, is it, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Are they in dire straits? No, they're not in dire straits. They have they most likely have engineering challenges. They're going to overcome those challenges. And at the end of the day, the airplane is going to be a far better airplane. It'll be a far better package when it's all said and done. It's just the part of aircraft development that every company goes through. And, Joby lost an aircraft a couple of years ago. And their comment in that was, we were pushing the airplane to the edge past its envelope. We wanted to see what it could do. And then they learned so much from that. And I guarantee, even though it happened much earlier in their, they weren't really that far into certification at that point. But you always learn from your mistakes. And if Archer kind of went down the wrong road with potentially their rotor design or their rotor configuration, they're correcting that, and the aircraft is going to be, in the long run, a far better airplane. So we get fixated on, here's who's going to win the race. Who's going to win the race? But it's the race to certification. All right. But there's still, it's kind of like, who's going to win the race to the apple orchard? Right. But you can't pick all the apples because you were there 5 minutes before. Right.
Yeah.
Like the next guy's got it's going to be a function of, I showed up, you've got a basket, I've got a tractor. So I'm going to get more apples. But it's going to take me a little bit more time as well. If you're moving out that time horizon, it's anyone's game of which company is going to be more profitable in 5 years. But I guarantee both of them will be there bringing in profits, or definitely bringing in revenue in 5 years.
And if you even look at like the Covington, Georgia factory, and they said they're willing to expand that as and when required. Look, that's an asset already there for Archer. They said they're going to be pushing up to 950 midnight per year at full production. I think Archer is a sleeping giant at the moment. It is the fire's set to ignite eventually. Once that certification is over the line, it turns into a whole different game, guys. And I think Mark hit the nail on the head there. Certification is not the end goal. And I think too much of us get bogged down in certification being the end goal. Certification is just our ability to actually go to business. Then it's a game of business. And I'm not being funny. Looking at the PR that gets put out, Archer is very, very professional. And like, people beat Archer up now about their PR because they say, but they're not doing anything. Yeah, but wait till this PR is actually beneficial. Wait till it's actually for a commercial client. Archer is that much further ahead when it comes to the PR side than Joby is. Yeah. And it is going to be a asset to the business when we're operating as a business. At the moment, yes, PR doesn't really mean too much. It's only more or less to show investors. But I think Dylan hit on a really good point as well pre-stream, where, look, Archer come out with Archer Defense. Everyone starts beating them up and saying, why are they pivoting? That's not going to work. you're an air taxi company now, you're gone into defense, what you're doing. But then when Joby go with L3Harris, Joby are commended, and we kind of forget about Archer as being there first and done that first. And this is where I genuinely think there is like a, I don't know, a target on Adam's back, where people are just like, do you know what, I just don't like this guy. And that's why I think Archer is being targeted. I think it's Adam people are targeting, because do you know what? It's that alpha male thing, yeah? Do you know when someone like just struts their stuff, he says he's going to do this, look, people will try and always pick apart whether he's delivering or not delivering. But you can say that about Elon Musk. People always try and pick apart his timelines. He's too aggressive. But they fail to look back and see, yeah, but what has Elon actually done?
Mm-hmm.
I think you can look the same with Adam. Yes, I'm not saying Adam is Elon, but give Adam time to cook. I think we're trying to jump down Adam's throat before Adam's even allowed to spread his wings and actually operate as the business they're meant to operate as.
To that point, Adam has already spread his wings. You looked at his LinkedIn profile. I mean, the guy was, I mean, you go all the way back. He comes out of finance, but he was a portfolio manager, and then he was a co-managing partner. I mean, this was back in 2011, 2012. Then he co-founded a company and sold off that company. So Vettery, he was the co-founder of Vettery. This was for 7 years in New York. It's not like the dude has not done deals before. So with that, if you're already a co-founder of a company, you're clearly a leader. And I think that speaks volumes if you see how he holds himself and how well he manages himself when he's in front of a camera, which is what you want from a CEO.
No, and I agree with that. And, maybe something for the whole industry too, as, I get that Adam's PR can be a little glazy for some and their liking. But, maybe again, if we look at it as the eVTOL as a whole industry and a whole space, this may be an opportunity again where if it's not Joby doing the PR, and if Archer may be a little bit behind on Joby, Archer speaking about an air taxi network coming to fruition, I feel like that's only upping the opportunity for this to be a viable industry. So again, I'm not trying to down Joby, but it does have me curious why a company that's about a year away or so that they say from launching commercial service wouldn't be pushing a little harder to get their name and their brand out there. I was talking with somebody, and again, Uber was a new word. So, companies, there'll be new words, there'll be odd words. And if the company's good, the word will stick and, it'll become like a second nature word to us. But again, if nobody knows what a Joby is, if we're outside of the retail investors and maybe your day-to-day helicopter riders, if you just kind of ask the random person on the street, hey, do you want to go catch a Joby? Will they be able to even tell you where you're headed or what you're doing with them? So hopefully through the PR that Adam's doing, it can continue to bolster this excitement for this emerging industry coming up and can really bear some fruits for all of the eVTOL companies that are coming in as well.
Yeah, I mean, the general public just has no concept of what's coming. And I think that until it is in, like, when Adam went on, what was it, Jimmy Kimmel? When Adam went on Jimmy Kimmel, if they actually could have brought a video or showed it, they didn't show a video of it, did they?
They just had some those mock-up of the Olympics, so no, nothing like
that. Yeah, they should have actually showed a video of the thing flying just so it can get in people's consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
But both of these aircraft, both Joby and Archer, once they do get into the mainstream, it'll be, did we realize what flip phones were going to be? Like in 1995 or 1990 or in the early 90s, You didn't. Nobody had a phone. If you had a phone, it was this huge thing that was in your car, or you carried a backpack around. And by the time I was in college in the late '90s, I had my own flip phone, and that only took a few years.
You're old, aren't you?
I am old. I know. Where were you in the '90s, Liam?
Where was I? I was still in the mother's womb.
You were on your mother's womb.
I was born in '98, so guys,
it took you 8 years to be.
What I'm going to do, I'm going to jump straight back to the comments here, just because I know we've been neglecting them a little bit. But you know what? It's nice to sometimes jump back, have a look at what we think about the company and our thoughts behind it. Matan, big shout out, my guy. Really nice to speak to you the last day. And yeah, we will be in communication again. So this is Mrs. Juicy Fruit, the one that supplied you with the juicy fruit and a squash.
Yes. Hey. I know Mary personally. She's an amazing human being.
Big shout out, Mary. Thank you for, you know what? You made me and Dylan laugh as soon as we seen Mark today. So thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
Said Stacker, you all think anything comes from the Gabriel Defense Conference tomorrow for Horizon? I'll have to deep dive it to see, but I don't know. Do you think Horizon will have any involvement?
And you're able to promote your business plan, your platform, what you're going to do. It can't hurt. They've had it on their PR page for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I think it can be positive.
Anthony, Joby Whale here. Big shout out, my guy. Look, Joby doing some amazing things at the moment. We're just bulls on the whole industry, my guy. Joby, ACHR, Horizon, everyone, but
EHang.
There you go.
Dylan, do you remember when we first started this EVTOL weekly thing, and we used to get all the EHang bulls coming in?
Yeah, that's true. No, you're right about that. No, that's
Reese
very
made
true.
a video, Mark, yeah, and he was like debunking EHang.
He was doing what EHang?
Video. He was like
debunking.
Oh, debunking. Okay.
Yeah, and he more or less came out and he was saying that there was one security guard guarding their headquarters and he was asleep when they went to work first.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it was cracking.
Guy's now doing hard time in an Apple factory.
There you go.
Then the bag of holding says ACHR had to stop using the name ACHR Defense. I'm on OS. Hi, bravo. Big shout out, my guys. Guys, I ran a poll recently on my channel and the results really surprised me. Which of these eVTOL stocks do you think has the most potential growth? Joby, so Joby 17, ACHR 35%, Horizon 38%, eVTOL, Vertical Aerospace 10, total 48 votes. I'm quite surprised that Joby is so far down.
Yeah, let's. Can we do a poll as well? Are we able to do?
Do you know what I can do?
Let's do that. Let's run the same one in our community and see what kind of results we get. We'll compare it with them. Yeah,
guys. Straight after this, we're going to run a poll. I may actually be able to run it live here as well. Zed Stacker is Gabili Defense Conference. Look, I'm shocking at pronunciation.
Don't think it is. I think it's like the Harvard News Conference or something. Let me look it up. Or not news.
Then Anthony, Joby, they now have income with Blade. I'm on OS. Great point, Dylan. That 5 was skyrocket when they announced in December. Zed Stacker, it's too early to start the ACHR. Hey, I'm still bullish. For sure, my guy.
I appreciate it.
The bag of holding, isn't it crazy that ACHR thought the first design was even possible for so long? Do you know what? I actually caught bag of holding out. He's quite heavily invested in Horizon Aircraft. So we did find a eVTOL company that is interested. Just the Silver says a 6-month setback sounds pretty aggressive. I'm thinking more 9 to 12 months and at least another 500 million. It really depends on what actually has to happen. Mark, how long
has
would
it
you
started
predict?
yet?
Yeah, so 500 million, that's pretty inflated. Engineering, when you look at a development program, the majority of the cost, your engineering cost is maybe 15% of that entire program cost. Like engineering and development, 15, 20%. Your biggest expense is manufacturing, tooling, facilities, and whatnot. So if there is, a significant redesign, I would say, I mean, 9 to 12 months would be, I would call 9 to 12 months a very good opportunity to buy the stock when it dips on that announcement, because they will right the ship, and then just go long. But at least another 500 mil, man, you can do a lot with 500 mil. So,
well, and I'm curious too with the community, and I guess maybe this will bring my analogy of kind of like first child, middle child, third child, where sometimes, and again, no offense to anybody, but it's like sometimes the first child is the one that can do no wrong. And then the second child comes along and it's like the baby of the group. And it's like, oh, you're so cute. We like what you're doing. Oh, yeah, go you. And then that third child comes. Now you're the middle child. And it's like, okay, first kid, go out. You're grown. Like, run off, do what you do. And then the younger one, it's like, now the youngest of the youngest is like, oh, it's okay if you make mistakes. You're the third one in the group. And then the second one's kind of there. And it's like, I can't make a mistake. Everybody gets angry when I do something wrong. And if I speak up, nobody wants to hear what I'm saying and all this. So I think for the Horizon community, I'd be curious, as Brandon's at the half scale right now, if there was anything found, because there was a day where Archer was designing Maker. And that was a design that had to get scrapped as well. And that's how Midnight came about. So it would be curious to see just kind of how the sentiment would be, whether it was Joby, Horizon, Beta, Edge, Eve, I'm sorry, any of these eVTOL companies, if they had to go back to the drawing board, is it so much about the company having to go back, or is it, is it really that Adam is the one that's kind of that thorn in people's sides? And if it wasn't Adam at the helm or speaking so much, would people really take as much, maybe care, but kind of take as much attack to the Archer side and having to go back to get that product to market? I don't know.
Then Zstacker says, if they do have to do a redesign, it's definitely bearish, but they have almost 2 billion cash available. I think their connections, and with this administration, they'll make it.
yeah,
I actually don't have much doubt that they'll make it. I genuinely do, hand on heart. It's not something that'd keep me up at night as an Archer investor that they ain't going to make it. Bag of holding, it might not be possible for battery-powered eVTOLs to carry enough. Even the hover boss said it's senseless at this point. I don't know. I don't think he said that, my guy. Tom Myselli, hello everyone. Big shout out, Tom. Great supporter of the channel. Then, could they be ghost job? Oh my God.
Notice every time I drink my squirt.
I guess, in that and maybe Mark, you would know anything on this. Like, if you're an aircraft, aerospace, and if you got a Covington facility, like at what point are you just shutting the doors if this isn't a viable operation?
You would be. It's kind of like seeing an athlete who's past their prime. Okay. They're right, like, and you would just you can just tell, like. They're it's like Mike Tyson, right? It's like he's past his prime.
The blows don't hit as hard.
The blows don't hit as hard, or they're just or they're not even connecting.
You don't even stop hearing
that
from
is that is not Archer at this point. I mean, Archer is both Archer and Joby, in my opinion, because again, in my career, I went and worked for Honda Aircraft Company in 2012 to 2013. And when I went there, I was amazed by everybody said there at that point, the one thing that is unique about this company is we have deep pockets. Like the culture of Honda was, did we lose? We
I
good?
don't know what keeps happening there. The screen keeps flicking on me.
All right, we're good?
Yeah, we're all good.
But at that time, the sentiment was, we have deep pockets. We are not going to fail. Like money was not really an option because you were backed by Honda Corporation. And that was the case. And even then, I think they spent, maybe $1 billion to get that entire aircraft through original concept design, build an entire manufacturing facility in Greensboro, go all the way through certification and entry into service. That was $1 billion. Here we are today with Archer and Joby, both with over $1 billion in cash in hand. Archer already has their facility built in Covington. They just need to pretty much ramp up tool it and ramp up manufacturing. It's just, I have not seen in my over 20 years of a career so much financial backing and honestly so much confidence that this is going to happen. In the early 2000s, when you had very light jets, like you only had really one company that came out of that, and that was Eclipse Aviation, and they just survived. And now, like, I don't even really know if they're viable at this point. But that was but there was consensus among the aerospace industry, like, yeah, that was cool, but we don't see that happening. That's not the feel you get now. The feel you get now is this is the next Tesla. This is a new form of transportation, and there's no stopping it.
No, thank you so much for that. And then Tom Maselli says, why would the Department of Defense purchase any Midnight aircraft when the performance metrics are inferior to the S4 regarding weight, speed, range, acoustic profile, and maintenance?
I want to answer that one.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, you go first, Mark. Go.
In the 1990s, the United States had the government had a competition for the YF-23 or the YF-22, and the YF-23 was built by Northrop Grumman, and Lockheed Martin built the YF-22. I'm gonna get murdered by any of my ex-Lockheed colleagues, but the YF-23 was the far superior airplane, but Lockheed won the contract. So,
and as we say, business. When we go into business,
do not discount special interests. Do not discount. And I'm not saying Archer or which one is better, because both of them are really at the beginning stages of what they're going to be. Battery technology is going to change. These airplanes are actually going to get lighter and lighter as the battery technology improves. There will be additional block aircraft that will come out. What we're seeing right now might not necessarily be on the design board for what Archer could intend with Anduril. It could be a completely different airplane, or I mean, it could look similar, but there could be a lot of different design change features that they don't have to certify if it's going to go to the military. So there's it's really too soon to tell who the front runner would be in the defense space.
Guys, there seems to be a lot of you there watching us live at the moment. Do make sure to bang the like button just to share us out to more people. Also, if you're new here, bang the subscribe button. We are growing, guys. We're nearly at 3,100 people, so it's exciting. Mixie Phil says the bag of holding is desperate. I'm not getting involved in any of this. Zed Stacker says Oscar is saving my portfolio right now. Tom goes, you seem to imply there's a personal vendetta against Adam, quite simply, you need to be careful about what you say when you're at the helm of a publicly traded company. Would you say the same about Elon? And before you say what has Elon done, you haven't given Adam the time to do it. So, look, I do think there is quite a anti-Adam push in this sector. Like, why else are people upset with Archer at the moment?
Well, and especially
Genuinely, it's what Adam said.
if you're not invested in it, to me it's a nothing burger what Adam's saying. And to me, again, I'll just go back to when Adam's talking, he's talking about eVTOL. So for me, the all tides lift ships. So, we're kind of in a downward spiral here. So let's get some positive news going in the eVTOL space. So institutional investors can get back on board, put some more eyes onto it, and let's get to Q3 and figure out what each one of these companies have done individually. Because again, I think we've been talking how all similar that these are eVTOL aircraft or possible hybrid, the HVTOL aircraft, depending on which powertrains the individual companies go with. But again, use case and design, and what are they really going after? So, I think still to be open on that.
And I'll admit, I'm the one that has come on this channel, and I've always said, I'll say which one is selling hope, which one is selling results. I should back that up a bit too, because that was always an implication that Adam is selling hope. And that's not necessarily the case. I see that they're both making really large strides, but when you compare Adam to Joe Ben, they are just completely different people. And we discussed that, at one point as well. Completely different personalities. Look at what Archer's stock did for a long period of time. It was much higher than Joby's for a while. It had a lot more market sentiment. And what was it doing in that time? Adam was out promoting his company. It's really only kind of you've seen that shift after they've become quiet for a while.
Yeah, I agree.
Then, oh mate, are we getting back into this? Needs to prove about lift and all that. Bag Holden, please.
Job, I guarantee, Bag Joby, when they're lifting, there's probably steel plates sitting in the passenger compartment. They've already proven their KPPs, their key performance parameters.
I actually want to address this one. Bag of Holding is a shot that's getting squeezed now, poor little thing. I actually don't think Bag of Holding is a shot, and I'll tell you why. Because why would you come to every single one of our streams and watch us for hours and hours on end if you had no interest in the company? Look, I'm not interested in Virgin Galactic. I wouldn't go and watch stream after stream after stream about Virgin Galactic. I could short Virgin Galactic if I wanted to, and I'd be pretty confident that it would work out. So I wouldn't have to watch stream after stream after stream. So Bag of Holding, I think you're a secret investor, my guy. I think you just like to wind us up. Mark, any comments on the sections in the Grizzly report regarding weight and acoustic performance relative to Joby?
Yeah, they were saying that the 2-rotor design compared to the 4-rotor design, there's a lot more vibration.
Same vibration, cabin noise possibly coming out of it.
Yeah. I think that that's a stretch unless they have data directly from the company.
I think that's a great, and I was thinking of just that same answer, Mark. It's like, how do you know that unless you have the flight data? If they have the flight data, okay, accurate,
and that's exactly right
on that. Yeah, no, it's a great thought though. No, that's a great thought.
Then,
with that report, they were saying that the airplane's not certifiable. They need to come with a basis of how is it not certifiable. Otherwise, again, it's just conjecture from a biased standpoint, from a biased side of the room as well.
Well, and the more timely short report does seem to be the culprit one. I think it was probably a little less accurate, kind of line by line than what Grizzly may have tried to pick up in theirs. And I don't know if Culper did, put a short, or how long they put the short in or whatever. But when the stock price was elevated to like 1350, if you didn't think that that was a good market cap for the company, that would be your opportunity right there, to put the short in on the company. And we do know Archer in general, and it's something that, as the Archer investor, I don't love, it's like, I don't, like, no disrespect, but it's like, I don't want to be necessarily in like a GameStop situation where I'm battling market makers or battling shorts and waiting for them to release their position so that way Archer's market cap can go up. But something on that too, and it may be nothing for anybody, but I've also liked, and you can say it with both of the companies, that they haven't taken the cash reserved and taken them and putting them into like some new proxy play like Ethereum or Bitcoin, like some of these other CEOs have done with their, quote unquote, war chest of money. So again, you have about a 5% interest rate growing on your capital right now. So any interest or any money that you're having saved is having interest growing on that. So it's, so I think, again, it goes back to, what is, or for me, my thought also goes to, what is Adam going to do with that capital? And, where and when does he feel like he needs to allocate that? Because for me, I wouldn't mind seeing maybe another 250 million being spent, kind of that balance of, okay, we can gamble, risk, whatever word you would use there, off maybe chopping a quarter's worth of capital raise towards the end, and then being able to do something worthwhile for the business, be it either in the vertiport build out, something in UAE, more partnerships with inside of emerging municipalities or locations inside the U.S. to continue to build out the infrastructure. So as the investor, though, I would like to see more plans on what they are going to do with that capital as opposed to just sit on it. So, I'd be okay on the next quarter if we're down to 1.5 million, but with a strategic plan moving forward with what was used on that capital and how we're going to use that moving forward.
Did that just mute me for a second?
I think so. Yeah.
We're back.
Something's messing with me today on this. VACNC says single source equals bad business. Big shout out, VACNC. Then Mixiefield says exactly. Mixiefield, tell him Liam. What? Like a holding, they didn't talk about it. What? The weight is that? Absolutely would say the same about Elon. He's in hot water before with the SEC many times. Yeah, but see what Elon has done. Like, you can love or hate Elon. He's an absolute gem. You wouldn't be short against his businesses, would you? Jess De Silva, Elon is a carnival barker and his best product is his stock. Mixie Phil, Grizzly Research interns in the chat. Elon is the GOAT. No Mixie Phil, engineers in the chat. Keep hating. What is going on in the chat today, my guys? Will everyone just calm down? We're trying to have a good time, isn't it? Tom says, no gearbox as well. Small rotors, more rotors. They're third-party measurements comparing flights. Mixed Phil, cold per Grizzly interns here. Look, oh, guys, come on. Snow, is HOVR going to be able to keep the $1 NASDAQ compliance? Yeah, I believe so. They will. They've only just came out of it and complied. Will they go back down under the dollar?
And if the NASDAQ compliance as well is if they go down below the dollar, then if they're below the dollar, I think for 6 months, then it's like you get a letter saying, hey, you need to be back in compliance. You only have to be above $1. Is it for 12 days or 10 days? Like they could, for lack of better terms, they could hover around $1 and still be in compliance. But their stock price is interesting. I think, well, I can't project. If it does go down, I'll be buying more. Definitely be buying more.
Then Mixie Phil says, don't F with eVTOLs. Tom says, more weight to fight against while generating more noise. they referenced a video about a year ago where someone took a decibel meter to both Joby and ACHR test flights. VACNC says, I want Adam to throw a pile of cash at Horizon and hedge the ACHR bets. Tom, I wouldn't short any company or any business. Fair play, my guy. Bag, I wouldn't short them. I understand the fan base. You are a fan, my guy. Do you know what, guys? Before the chat absolutely erupts, what I might say is, guys, if you enjoyed it, make sure to bang the subscribe button. Also, hit the like button. Make sure every like sheds out to 10 more people. These eVTOL weeklies, guys, these eVTOL fan clubs are actually growing exponentially, far quicker than the likes of the Rocket Lab space. People seem to be enjoying it. It's definitely down to you two because, look, I make appearances on both, so you two are doing absolutely amazing. Guys, do jump into the comments and tell the guys how great they do. But
let's make sure we put that poll out.
Oh,
yeah.
Don't. I mean, maybe not right now, but let's do it right after the live stream. So that
come check the page.
Guys, I'm about to create a poll. Once you come out of this video, go into the HOVR Brothers posts. So just go into the HOVR Brothers, go across the post, and click on our poll. We're going to see which eVTOL has the bigger upside. Is it ACHR? Is it Joby? Is it Vertical Aerospace? Or is it Horizon Aircraft? Guys, my name's Liam. One of the HOVR Brothers here. Wait a minute. Tom says, I'll throw this one in again. With HOVR, any concern over loss of laminar flow over the wing causing a loss of lift during transition when the airfoil opens up?
Yeah, not on their scaled model. If you go and look at the video that they posted, you can basically see they're called tufts. It's basically like strands of yarn, and then they're taped down to the wing. And that will show you if you have laminar flow or turbulent flow, and when everything closes up, or even when it is in transition, the flow over that forward section of the wing is completely laminar.
Then Tom says, also, Mark, have you seen the supernal
design? No, I'll take a look at it and comment.
Then Joel says, is Mark on Twitter?
Yes, I am, although I know nothing about it because I'm old. So,
do you want me to share your...
yeah, I'm at Glassair278.
Yeah.
Guys, I'll put Mark's Twitter into... My Twitter's down at the moment.
They got you again.
Have you got it there, Dylan?
Let me see. Let me put it up on the stream. Give me 1 second.
Twitter's completely down for me. Look, can I share the screen?
But I will say for both of these companies, if you look back over the 6 to 9 months, I mean, you think last year, both of these companies, they were really in test phase. I mean, these were just straight test, unpiloted flights that both of these companies were running. So if you just look at the eVTOL space and the progression that both of these companies, as well as the others as well, not to discount those, but the progressions that has been made in the eVTOL space, I think within just this part of 2025, I think it's pretty remarkable, and I think to be appreciated, and for this slice of what this chapter of the emerging market of eVTOL and this industry can and will be. And I think, again, we have, 2025, so maybe 2.5 years left to really see how this story starts playing out prior to change of administration and the commercial rollouts of the air taxi networks. And again, I think we're in the early chapters right now. And I think anything good on one side of either of the companies is going to be good for the industry and can potentially be good for any of the other competitive companies in the industry as well.
Yeah, and also too, when it comes down to the stock price, they've tested highs. They've tested new highs, and they've come back quite a bit from those highs. So anything, my perspective, and this isn't investing advice, but anything that comes down from this point in an industry that's emerging, they're going to retest those highs. And remember that. Anything, if for some reason Archer, Joby come back into the 5-6s, it's a gift, in my opinion. It's going to be a gift.
Then iManOS says would be nice to make it same name to compare our audiences. Yep, can do that, my guy. Tom Myceli, awesome. I'll check it out. Tom, big shout out, my guy. Great having you in the stream.
Yeah.
Look, we're having a back and forward, but no, big respect to you, my guy. Love it. Do you know what? I love what is it? Healthy debates. So Tom, big shout out, my guy. All friends here. Right, guys. I am in Milan tomorrow, so that's why we pushed the stream back here. I will be able to stream on Sunday. I will be on my phone though. I might have to have one of you guys as the host. Is that okay? Are you busy?
I can do that. Yeah, no, I'm looking at this supernal, and all right, we got to show this. Can I share real quick?
Yeah.
All right, this is what I think they're reading. How do I present this? Present. Oh, for crying out loud. Supernal arrow. All right, look at how in this video, how they're the rotors. This is basically an Archer, but the rotors point aft. Let me see if I can find the... Oh, come on now, I don't want pictures of people. Let me see if I can get to this here.
Yeah.
Aircraft. So in this, the rotor, the aft rotor points down.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
All right. So see this here, how the aft rotor points down and the forward rotor points forward. This is what I was talking about the other day. So the aft rotor is a pusher and the forward rotor is a puller. And they both provide downward thrust, but then they both pivot. I mean, this pretty much looks like Archer, but with the exception of Archer has a fixed propeller in the rear. I'll dig into this a bit more and see what this company is doing, but this design here with the all rotors, because now this aft rotor can basically tilt. Here, I'll just show it.
Introducing Supernal's latest eVTOL. It's an extraordinary, all-electric, multi-generational aircraft that will reset into...
Yeah, so there, all the rotors are now pointing in the direction of flight and contributing to the thrust. I'll look more into this and we'll talk about it later. But I mean, the thing pretty much looks exactly like an Archer, with the exception
does look like its baby twin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Last comment I'll bring up is Snow JW says, any of you going to do a tour of Horizon aircraft with Brandon? That is on
We're working on that.
Would be interesting to see progress. They are making on the full scale X7. Brandon indicated lots of progress, but no videos yet. Do you know what? If anyone can do it, I honestly believe we will be able to get that over the line. But guys, we will see you again on Sunday. As always, big pleasure. Community's growing and growing. Do bang that subscribe button on the way out. And also jump into that poll. I'm doing that poll right now. So jump into that poll right now. Right.